U.S. lawmakers push for sanctions on Nigerian cattle groups amid escalating religious freedom concerns. In a bipartisan call for accountability, the United States House of Representatives has urged the Departments of State and Treasury to impose targeted sanctions on key Nigerian organizations, including the Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, MACBAN, and Miyetti Allah Kautal Hore, over allegations of severe violations of religious freedom. The resolution, introduced as H. Reserved 220 in the 119th Congress, highlights a decade-long pattern of violence attributed to Fulani Muslim herders affiliated with these groups, which lawmakers say has disproportionately targeted Christian farming communities in Nigeria's Middle Belt region. The measure, which passed a key subcommittee vote in the House Foreign Affairs Committee last week, stops short of designating Nigeria as a full Country of Particular Concern (CPC) under the International Religious Freedom Act, but calls for immediate economic penalties on entities deemed complicit in the atrocities. The United States should impose targeted sanctions and other measures against individuals and entities responsible for severe violations of religious freedom in Nigeria, the resolution states, emphasizing the need to freeze assets and bar U.S. financial dealings with those involved. The push gained momentum during a March 12th congressional hearing titled Conflict and Persecution in Nigeria, the Case for a CPC Designation, chaired by Reverend Chris Smith, RNJ, a longtime advocate for global religious liberties. Witnesses, including Nina Shea of the Hudson Institute's Center for Religious Freedom, described Nigeria as the world's deadliest country for Christians, citing over 18,000 churches destroyed since 2009 by Boko Haram militants, Fulani herdsmen, and other actors. Shea pointed to the herders' use of automatic weapons, allegedly distributed through Miyetti Allah networks, as a primary driver of the carnage, which has displaced thousands and fostered a culture of impunity due to lax Nigerian enforcement. Tony Perkins, former chair of the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom, USCRF, echoed these sentiments, accusing Western media of underreporting the crisis under influence from prior administrations. Religious leaders in Nigeria were outraged by Secretary Blinken's decision to reverse Nigeria's CPC status in 2021, Smith noted during the hearing, referring to the Trump-era designation that was later lifted. The hearing's testimony urged Congress to lobby President Donald Trump, whose administration reinstated Nigeria on a religious freedom watch list in late October, to target not just the government, but specific perpetrators. This aligns with broader Republican efforts, including a bill introduced by Senator Ted Cruz, R. Texas, in August, calling for sanctions over Christian mass murder. Cruz's legislation, still pending in the Senate, mirrors the House resolution in demanding trade benefit suspensions until Nigeria prosecutes those responsible. MACBAN and Miyetti Allah Kautal Hore, both Fulani-led cattle breeders associations, have long been flashpoints in Nigeria's farmer-herder conflicts. MACBAN, the larger of the two, represents millions of nomadic herders and has been accused by human rights groups of inciting or tolerating attacks on Christian villages over land and water disputes. Miyetti Allah Kautal Hore, a more militant offshoot, has publicly defended herder actions as self-defense while denying organized religious targeting. Critics, including the International Christian Concern, ICC, argue the group's influence enables unchecked violence. The Nigerian government's toleration of this violence by allowing it to continue with impunity is a core grievance, as outlined in the resolution. Reports from BBC, CNN, and Reuters, cited in the bill, document mass murders, rapes, kidnappings, and the razing of worship sites, often framed as a push for a Fulani-controlled empire, reminiscent of 19th-century caliphates. The Nigerian government, under President Bola Tinubu, has vehemently denied systemic religious persecution, attributing the violence to resource scarcity, banditry, and climate-driven migration rather than faith-based animus. In a statement following Trump's October watch list edition, Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mohammed Idris called the allegations unfounded and urged the U.S. to focus on collaborative counterterrorism. "We have raised this matter dozens of times, but nobody hears us," said a Nigerian bishop testifying via video, pleading for intensified anti-extremism efforts regardless of victims' faiths. Trump's rhetoric has amplified the pressure. On November 1st, the president threatened to halt all U.S. aid to Nigeria and ordered the Pentagon to prepare for potential military action if Christian protections falter, a move that sparked alarm in Abuja and drew rebukes from human rights advocates wary of escalation. The violence in Nigeria is not limited to Christians, CNN reported, noting attacks on moderate Muslims and calling for holistic solutions to underlying drivers like extremism and poverty. Critics, including Alliance Defending Freedom, ADF International, warn that broad sanctions could harm ordinary Nigerians. "It is imperative that the U.S. government condemn the targeted violence, but we must target individuals, not the whole country," said ADF counsel Sean Nelson. The U.S. CIRF has recommended precisely that: targeted sanctions against Nigerian officials who are complicit, allowing waivers for humanitarian aid. As sub-Saharan Africa's largest economy and a key U.S. partner in countering Boko Haram, Nigeria faces a delicate balancing act. The resolution also calls for ramped-up diplomatic engagement with Tinubu's administration to foster long-term peace, including strategies to prosecute perpetrators and protect minorities. Evangelical groups like the Family Research Council have hailed the move as a vital step, while others caution it risks straining alliances amid global challenges like climate migration. With Trump's inauguration looming and the 119th Congress in session, H.Res. 220 could reach the House floor soon. If enacted, it would signal a renewed U.S. commitment to religious freedom abroad, but at the potential cost of bilateral friction. As Smith put it during the hearing, "No person should be persecuted for their faith." For Nigeria's beleaguered communities, the coming months may determine whether words translate to action.